Hey gang, welcome to Two Blokes from Down Under. My name is Simon Guthrie. I'm here with my co-host Ben Ennis. How are you, Benny?
Great, mate. And you?
Very well, thank you. Today, Benny, we've got another local bloke, so let's get into it.
Today's guest, Simon, really looking forward to this one, mate. One of the nicest blokes you'll come across until he steps out over the white line on the pitch and transforms into one of the hard men of soccer. But it all started from a little 6-year-old boy who would wear his kit from the first thing in the morning until he got home that night. Then to schoolboy soccer, then overseas, playing for the Australian Joeys in the Youth World Cup. He then forged an unbelievable career in the A-League competition, where he's in the top 10 games record holders of all time, and he's one of Shepparton's very own.
All right, welcome to Two Blokes from Down Under. Vince Leo, how are you, Vinny?
I'm good, boys. How are you?
Good, and you?
Very well, thank you, mate. So, Vinny, let's tell us a little bit where it all began for you, mate. Where did it all start?
I started, obviously grew up, born and raised here in Shep, mate. My old man played soccer for TAT. So I used to go down as a little fella and watch him play, and training nights and get in the way. And I think when I was about 6 years old, I think they let me kind of pull on the boots and try and give it a go. And I was, at the time, that was under 12s was the youngest age group there was. So I was like 6, 7, 8 years old trying to run around with the under 12s, and
yeah, okay.
that was the beginning of it all.
So, born in Shepparton you're the youngest son. Tell us a little bit about the family, man.
Yeah, youngest son, got 3 sisters, 2 older, 1 younger. And it was pretty tough growing up with 3 sisters, mate. But Shep is it's an easy place to kind of grow up. You have mates around the corner. You jump on your bike and ride around to their houses after school, and riding to and from school. So it was a good upbringing, easy upbringing. Parents, gave us whatever we needed, and but yeah, 3 sisters probably would have changed that if I had my choice.
Hence the reason why you're out so much, mate.
Yeah.
Get out of the house.
They do support you a fair bit, the sisters, don't they?
They do, yeah, they do. They were good, as good as 3 girls could be. I felt a little bit left out actually as a kid growing up with the girls all hanging together and me by myself.
Yeah, you would have had your own bedroom and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
we actually spoke about this the other day. I did have my own room, and then I got lonely and would creep into their room and like sleep on the floor in the middle of the beds because I didn't want to sleep by myself. So, yeah, as much as I hang shit on them, they're actually pretty good growing up.
Yeah, okay, cool. Where'd you go to school?
St. Brendan's Primary School.
Yeah.
So we all went to St. Brendan's, and then high school Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So did pretty much all of my schooling up until year 11. I did year 11 at Notre Dame, and then I had to move down to Melbourne for soccer and stuff. So
Yeah, okay.
So back in the school days, I know you're talking about hanging around at the TAT soccer club with Dad. There was no school soccer team back then?
No, we never had back then. There was never school teams. It was just your local club. There was nothing. There was a few tournaments within the school.
Yep.
Catholic, curriculum, but there was nothing like it is now.
Yeah, there's just so many now. Like from such a young age, there's games all day, every day on the weekends and stuff like that. So which is good. Obviously, it's progressed a long way, and there's plenty of opportunity now.
Now it's so much better now with the facilities that there is around, and there's soccer from 6 years old. There would have been a program that I could have got involved in, but at the time there wasn't. There was nothing.
So you didn't play any other sports apart from soccer when you were younger at school?
At school, played footy.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually played footy during my primary school years.
Yep. So the Aussie rules.
So it was footy on a Saturday and soccer on a Sunday. I remember my dad telling me that the coaches or the teachers used to say that I was too rough for footy.
Too rough
for footy. So when you're giving shit on soccer players being weak and rolling around, that wasn't me.
That wasn't you.
So yeah, played footy and soccer, but I guess it became a point where I had to choose.
Yep.
It was become too much, and there was travelling to Melbourne and stuff, so I kind of gave it up.
Yep. So that was a choice to go towards soccer because that was where you're.
I don't know. I think I enjoyed it more.
Yep.
I had more cousins, and my dad played that as well, and I don't know. Maybe I was better at it.
Yep.
But I enjoyed it more, and I think there was more soccer around me at the time, and I just decided I'll do that.
Yeah,
Dad was pretty good at both sports, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was actually. I didn't see him play footy or cricket because he played cricket as well.
Yeah.
He was quite a good cricketer from what I hear. But he played footy and soccer and cricket in the summer. So
Yeah, okay.
that's why he can't walk now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, too much sport. So, at what age did you then shelter off just to soccer?
Oh, I don't know. I reckon it was in primary school, I reckon. So I would have been, 10, 11, 12 maybe. And by the time I was 13, I was in kind of state teams and stuff. So it was a couple of years before that, I reckon. I would have just focused on soccer. And
Yeah, okay. So Tat was the home club because Dad
yeah,
played.
that was a home club. Yep. So I played there. We all my family's kind of in and around that club and involved in it still. My dad's still involved in it. He still goes to training.
Really?
2 nights a week. So I don't know
That's
why.
awesome.
Wow.
Well, if you see the spread that they put on, I think that's why he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Runs the
Yeah.
water and goes back for a
Yeah.
feed.
And he loves it. He, all his mates are there, and
Yeah.
that's what you play sport for, to
his
hang around
social
with the
network.
boys and that. So, it was Tat. We were there, Tuesday, Thursdays, and then Sunday all day. We had to be the first ones there and the last ones to leave. So,
Yep.
What did Mum think about that?
she didn't like. She used to meet us there at like 11 and then leave after the last game. She was there for a full day, but
Yeah.
not not hanging around after the last game was on. And
Yep.
I was still in my shin pads, I reckon, still in my kit from 10 o'clock in the morning, still at 6 p.m. at night, still
Yeah.
still in my boots.
Loved it.
At the young age, what was the dream? What was the goal?
Oh, there wasn't when I was very young. It was just enjoyment. You just played it because your mates played and you loved it, and it was something to do. And then I guess when it started becoming, I mentioned before, around 13, 14, you're in the state teams and you kind of representing, your state at tournaments in New South Wales and stuff, and then it becomes something that you think about, that you realise that this could actually be something that you can do as a job. Because it's not spoken about when you're young. There was no A-League back then, or the NSL, which was the competition in
Yep.
Australia at the time. It wasn't publicised in the country really. I never heard about it. Like, we never followed any of the teams, so you didn't know that there was a professional league out there that you could aspire to play in. But then once you make these teams, then you start realising what's out there.
Yeah, okay.
It becomes a bit of a goal, for you to try and do that, so you don't have to get a job, I suppose.
What age did you notice that you were a standout? Like when?
Yeah, it would have been around that time, I reckon. Around 13, 14, you're playing, especially playing at TAT, I was playing under 12s, under 14s, under 16s. And then, by 14, I was playing seniors. And you're like, you
Played your first game at 14
I
and
think you're
at
playing
seniors?
And
How
so
did that go?
It went good, actually. I actually scored a goal in the first. I played a few games. I was 14 or 15.
Nice.
So I left here by 16. So I was playing for TAT seniors, by that 14 or 15. But I'd played already 2 games in the in the morning.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, you played juniors as well.
yeah, I played 14s, and we didn't have enough players to to not play. So you played both and loved it, and so I was playing a bit, and then you realise you're good when you're making those teams, and you go down to Melbourne and you're kind of matching it with the guys in Melbourne, and then realising that you're one of the better ones, and
Make something of it.
So you went from like TAT 12s, 14s, 16s or whatever, and then seniors went at your at the age of 14. How did you get involved with the Melbourne stuff?
The state representative stuff, they had trial days, and I think they put out a bit of a memo to all the clubs in country soccer, and send your best kids down to a day and we'll have a look. So we had quite a few from around here. We jumped in a car and would go down with Frankie Laganas and Rossi Lagana, my cousins were all involved, and we all kind of went down and had a look, and a few other guys growing up, Brendan Benny and Andrew Kreskus, we all kind of were involved in soccer, trying to go down and make those teams, and me and Frankie ended up making, in our age group, me and Frankie made the Victorian team.
Yeah.
So it kind of started like that.
At what age was that?
That was under 13s. So there was only a Victorian team, which was all of Victoria, people from the country, but there wasn't many of us country players that were in that team. So it was only, I think, me and Frankie that were from regional Victoria. But we played 13s, 14s for the state metro team, and then I think it was under 15s. I think it was under 15s, they brought in a Vic country team, and they made us change and play for the country team. And I remember at the tournament in Sydney, we played against the Vic Metro team, and we absolutely battered them up, man. We won 2-0.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were a better football team, but we just beat them up.
Yeah,
And
okay.
they got scared, and we won 2-0. So that was a bit of a highlight growing up.
Was there many Shepparton boys in that once it went to country? Was there many Shep boys who made it?
There was a few. In our age group, it was only me and Frankie, but then, like I said, Andrew Kreskus was in the one below, and Brendan Benning, I think, a year above. And there would have been, when I left, then more coming through.
Yeah.
But it was still relatively new.
You see in the AFL nowadays, they have such a huge pathway into it. Is soccer gone that way as well, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think now with the NPL and the way it's run, there's obviously NPL 1 with the GV Suns are playing in. You see Alo Qual, who's gone on to play in Germany now, who started at the Suns, and his little brother's playing, and there's now a pathway for you to play A-League. You start off, and these clubs have academies that have junior setups and stuff, so you can get involved now with the Suns at, I don't know when it starts, maybe 12.
Yeah, I think that's
13 years
early.
old.
Yeah, early days now.
And you can play 4 or 5 years before you play seniors for the Suns, and then if you have a good year, there's A-League teams are looking at the NPL. Like there's 3 teams in Victoria now that are going to look, and it's not just the Victorian teams. Other A-League clubs are looking at local talent, so it's easier than when I was growing up. Still, obviously, a lot into it and a lot of hard work, but there is people watching now. Country soccer. You don't have to go to Melbourne and play like I did to get noticed.
Bit better pathway than the big boys sending letters to your local club and saying who's your best players.
Or
sort
just
of thing.
send who you want and we'll have a look.
Yeah.
Probably not really expecting to find anyone, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's better now.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So then you make these squads, obviously, and you play. What do you play under 16 big country?
Under 13, 14 Metro, I think it was 15s big country. Maybe 15s and
15s.
Yeah.
Then where did you head then?
So then at these tournaments you have, so this is like a national championship, it's called.
Yep.
I don't know what they have now, whether they still have them, but it was in like Western Sydney. So you're playing against all the other states around Australia, and the national team coaches and talent identification officers are watching to kind of pick players for the under 17 Australian teams and under 20s Australian teams. AIS coaches are looking back. The AIS now has been disbarred or whatever. It's no longer around.
Yeah.
So, which is a bit of a shame because a lot of Australia's good footballers came from the AIS. But now with each club having their own academy, they think they don't need it. So, but they were at the time watching. So you can get scouted to go to the AIS. You get scouted to make the Australian Joey's team, and then obviously probably A-League clubs or NSL clubs back at the time were watching too. So there's a pathway from there, from having a good tournament there. People are watching, and then it just kind of opens doors.
Did you have a good tournament?
Yeah, I did have a good tournament. We
Carved it up.
So then obviously the Joey's coach, we got invited to a few camps, under 17 camps. The way that the young teams work, it's every 2 years. So my age group kind of was in between. So I was 16 trying to play so I was a year always below.
Yeah.
So I went to a few camps with the 17s, but never made the final squad for the World Cup. But
This is in Joey's.
This was in the Joey's.
So for the Australian side.
Yeah, for the under 17s.
Yeah.
My math's not good enough to figure out what year that was, but back then.
2002.
Yeah.
2001, 2002, somewhere in that time frame.
AIS coach was watching and offered a 2-week trial at the AIS to see if I'm good enough to come, and they wanted to kind of get you involved. But now by this time, 16 years old, I'm kind of jumping around, but maybe we can edit it. I was playing for South Melbourne in the NSL.
Okay.
So they wanted me to go to the AIS.
Yeah.
South Melbourne wanted me to stay in Melbourne.
Hard decision at that age.
Well, the goal of the AIS is to groom you for professional football.
Yep.
Overseas or Australia.
Mm.
So I kept saying, look, I wanted to go. The club kept saying, look, well, you got to stay, you got to play this weekend, and then you can go. and that went a few weeks.
Yeah.
And in the end, the AIS kind of just said, look, there's no point you coming here if you're already playing first team football, or you're in and around the first team squad at 16. That's our goal.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So don't worry. So I didn't end up going to the AIS.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was a good experience. I would have went and I would have loved to go because it teaches you to kind of live by yourself, live as a footballer.
Yep.
You train in the morning, you go to school, you train at night.
Yeah, not just soccer.
It's not just soccer.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's moving out of home and
the lifestyle
getting
around
you
it.
ready for moving abroad if that's your goal. So
Yeah.
You do hear some of the big boys who made it overseas, where they go overseas by themselves at the age of 15 and have never done it, got no idea, got no family, and they get thrown in a little house and go, here you go.
Mate, and it's massive over there. Europe, you're nobody. You're from Australia. You leave here maybe with everyone telling you that you're good enough and you should go overseas, and your agent, your parents telling you this, and you go there, and mate, that's why so many come back.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a shame that the AIS stopped doing what they do, because it did what you're saying. It groomed you actually to go over and do that sort of stuff. So that was back in 2001. You were playing South Melbourne.
Yeah. So I
why South Melbourne?
So there was around the same time. Well, it's all kind of kicked off around the 13, 14, 15-year-old age.
Yeah.
There was another trial day. Similar scenario. Carlton was around. That they had a club in the NSL for 2 or 3 years before they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
But they were like the new boys, the big boys spending money. They had an academy set up. They had a trial day as well. Did the same sort of thing. Sent a letter out. Send your best kids and we'll have a look. So we all went down, again, a van full of us and whatever, and trained for a day. And the coach at the time, Jeff Olver was his name, he pulled my dad and me and said, look, I want Vinny to come down and play with Carlton's under 18 team at the time, because the under 16 team was no longer going to be around, so they only had, the youngest age group was under 18s, and I was only 15 or 16. So they were like, geez, I don't know about that, I'm a bit young. And in the end, we kind of decided, look, let's just give it a crack and we'll see how we go. So I went to Melbourne and was playing with Carlton's youth team. So in the National Soccer League, they had a senior league and then a youth league, similar to what they do now, which was under 18s. And so I was playing for Carlton in that league when I was like 15, 16. I didn't play much, but I was playing with the big boys at the time. They were 4 or 5 years old, 3 or 4 years older than me. I had a year with them, with Carlton. And then at the end of that year, Jeff Olver, the coach, was leaving and going to South Melbourne.
Yep.
And he wanted to take a lot of us younger ones with him. So he kind of asked for me and a few other ones, come to South Melbourne where, I'm going to be assistant coach of the first team, coach of the youth team. You'll play, we'll have a good team, and you'll have opportunities to kind of play senior soccer if you're good enough in the next few years. So that, again, it was a decision I had to make, because the coach of Carlton was wanting me to stay too, giving me the same spiel. Like, I think you're mad for leaving, we're a big club, and we're on the up and there'll be opportunities for you. And I was like, I don't know what to do. In the end, I went to South Melbourne, and a year later or 2 years later, Carlton folded.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I was like, geez, thank God.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the older guys that were closer to playing senior soccer stayed.
Yep.
And in the end,
yeah,
they could have, interrupted their career, and a lot of them didn't play after that because they just were at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Everything happens for a reason.
So, I ended up at South Melbourne at that time, playing youth team, but training with the seniors in school holidays. And
that's a big decision for a young kid.
I was going to say, at that age,
decision.
your parents would have had a bit to do with that at that age, wouldn't they, that decision? Or
They did, but kind of in the end, they just said, look, it's up to you. What do you think? But you kind of trust what Jeff was saying, and luckily he turned out to be quite a good mentor for me around that age for a few years.
Yep.
And my dad got on pretty well with him, and so we ended up following him, and it turned out to be a good call. And it's just probably dumb luck that I chose them and didn't stay.
Yeah. At this stage, you're still going to high school, aren't you? And travelling back and forth.
Yeah, my parents did a lot of the heavy lifting when we were young. of the heavy lifting.
And the girls, like your sisters, were they playing sport as well?
Yeah, they were playing netball and
Yep.
pretty much that. Back then there was only netball
Yeah.
and basketball for girls. There's soccer now, but it was netball on Saturdays. So my mum pretty much stayed with them, and my dad
Yep.
took me. Well, would alternate, but
Yep.
I don't think Dad ever took him to netball, to be honest. So we had a few guys. Like I said, Frankie Logano, we were pretty close, and we shared the loads. And Andrew Kreskis, who's from here, we all kind of shared the load of driving to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Do one day each a week, because we ended up 3 or 4 nights a week travelling down. to
3 or 4
Melbourne.
nights every week for training.
Yeah.
After school.
After school, so I'd leave school at 2 o'clock, and then my dad would have to leave work and, drive down 2
Yep.
hours, 2.5 hours, and get there, train,
Yep.
come back, have quick Maccas on the way home.
Bit late when you got home.
Yeah, so then you get home 11, 12 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Then you end up at school the next day.
Yeah.
So it became a bit of a problem. My school work was suffering.
It would
Yep.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you're leaving an hour and a half early
Yeah, so
every
you're
day, mate.
missing
So-
that. Yeah, makes sense, right? So
yeah.
missing that, then kind of catch up assignments, and just it became an issue. By the time I was in year 11, I had to make a decision to go.
Yep.
Because I was missing too much school, and I would have failed if
Yeah.
I kept doing that. Year 12, I couldn't.
Yeah,
miss
it affects
school.
both then, doesn't it? It's affecting school and then
Yeah, and-
your sport.
Yeah, you can't drive 2.5 hours and get out of the car and try and train.
No.
Yeah.
Becomes a bit difficult.
So that was it. You pulled the pin on school.
Nah, I moved to Melbourne and did year 12 at CBC in St Kilda.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we went down. Monique at the time, Bully and my brother-in-law had just moved to Melbourne about a year before to play for Essendon.
Yep.
And Monique then went to Melbourne and lived with my cousin in Caulfield.
Yep.
By the time I was about to move to Melbourne, my cousin had moved out.
Yeah. Okay.
So I moved in with Monique.
Made room
so
for
I
you.
moved in with my sister. Yeah, about
Yeah.
a K up the road from the school.
Yep. Nice.
And 5-10 minute tram ride
Oh.
to South Melbourne's training ground.
Wow.
So it was good. It
Yep.
was easier for me to move away from home. Having,
Yeah.
being able to move in with Monique. So parents were happier having
Yeah.
for me to go
For sure.
If
Still
they
with
knew
family,
that,
yeah.
I was with someone.
Yeah. So that would have been, you were about 17?
Yeah, 16.
16?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a big,
Yeah.
big
Cool, isn't
move,
it?
16 to Melbourne. But like you said, having your family and stuff, like as in your sister, it's just
Yeah.
another home away from home, really, and everything was close by. And
Yeah, it made that part easier, but it was tough starting a new school.
Yeah.
Starting anything new is always daunting. You don't know
Yep.
anyone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was difficult at that age to
Yep.
leave your mates and
Yeah.
but it was by that time I knew it was something that I wanted to do.
it's a good opportunity.
So I knew that I had to just bite the bullet and do it.
Sort of back then, it was the path you had to take if you wanted to do that for a living. At least that's the path you had to
Yeah,
sort
it
of
was.
go down.
It was. You got to sacrifice things, and
Mm.
the sacrifices you make along the way. But that was quite a big one early on that
Yeah.
I had to make, and
Probably
the
looking
first
back,
of
yeah.
many. Yeah.
You're probably lucky looking back now that you had that opportunity with your sister and that there too. Like, what would you have done without that?
Yeah,
Maybe
well,
scenario you might not have
again,
even got there.
Mate,
Like,
so much luck along the way.
Yeah.
And, just
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, looking back, yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty fortunate to have that.
Yeah, it's great.
That option.
I think that's the same in most things in life. Though hard work and a bit of luck, it'll prepare you to get
Yeah.
through there.
Yeah, for sure.
So 2001, 2003. Sorry, 2001, 2004, you played with South Melbourne. You played 51 games. Did you hit seniors straight away, or you still played in the youth?
Nah, so I played that 1 year in the youth league, and then by the next season I was training, like I said, in the school holidays with the first team, and then it was the pre-season the following year did with the senior team, and then got offered a contract. So I was 16 with the first team contract, and I didn't play youth league again, and
Yeah.
was in and out of the squad. So I was there for 3 years and played 51 games. So I think there was about the 20 to 25 game season. So I played quite a bit for a kid that age.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
With some good players as well.
And that was so then 2002, 2003, you played Australia under 17, so you played in the Joeys.
So that's actually wrong. I didn't make the Joeys squad, as I mentioned earlier, but I think it was 2002 I ended up making the under 20s at 18.
Oh yeah,
Around
I've got
time,
that.
17, 18, and then I made 2005 the under 20s of my age group. So I played in the year above.
Yep.
under 20, if that makes sense. So I was young and playing in the age group above mine.
Yeah.
So 2 years older than mine. So I went to the World Cup in Dubai.
Yeah.
With the under 20s Australian team.
That was the first one.
That was the first one.
Yep.
Dubai, that would have been a good experience
Big
for
trip.
you.
Yeah, it was awesome. Playing for your country is always good. Played at 2 youth World Cups, and the first one, obviously, I was young, but I played I started one of the group games.
Yeah.
And came on against Brazil. We beat Brazil in our group.
Wow.
Topped the group, went through, and then we lost to the UAE, the host nation. We lost 1-0. They scored a goal like in the 89th minute, I think, to knock us out. So that was a bit deflating after finishing top of your group with Brazil in it.
Yeah.
You know, people were starting to think, these guys could actually maybe go and do something. We had a good team as well.
Yep.
Really good squad. But, yeah, just unlucky on that night. We just didn't play that well and missed a few chances, and that's football.
Did any of that squad go on to be bigger and better?
Yeah, most of them played Socceroos. Couple played overseas when signed in Europe. Quite a few actually signed in Europe. A few didn't play again. Never heard from them again. Some played National League and then a bit of A-League. But yeah, that squad there was it's probably more successful than the squad that I ended up with in my age group. A lot of mine ended up A-League. I guess by then the A-League had kind of had a bit of a foothold in the country, and it was grown a bit more.
Try grabbing.
2002, you wanted to go overseas.
Yep.
That was your goal, because the NSL was dying.
Yeah, okay.
And it was on its last legs, and that's why the A-League started.
Yep.
But then by 2005, A-League had just begun, and it was off and running.
Snapping everyone up, and
so a lot of players stayed in Australia and had good A-League careers. Yeah, but quite a few in that first under-20 World Cup went and played in Europe.
Yeah, so that first one, pretty young heading over there, then that's travelling as a group, like obviously parents don't go or anything like that.
No.
Just stays a team. You've got people that take care of you and get you around. And
yeah, pretty much. It's you meet, your parents get you to the airport, and that's it, and you're off. And the coach and team manager looks after you, and you got your 25 mates there, and you're off all around the world.
Have you travelled anywhere overseas before that with your family, or that was your first trip overseas?
That was my first trip overseas. Yeah.
And you got to try and take all that in and then concentrate on training soccer and everything.
Well,
and
you don't see much. You see the hotel room.
Yeah, true.
Training around, so it sounds more luxurious than what it is. You train twice a day, and you're in your hotel, and that's it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Didn't get to venture out with the young ladies or anything like that.
And then once the tournament's over, then you get a night. You delay your flight by a day, and you hang around a bit. So but yeah, pretty much you get a day off halfway through your 4-week trip to go shopping and
fair enough.
But the World Cups were special, but the tournaments and the friendlies you play, like we travelled all over to Europe, Japan, and had games against some big clubs and big nations, and good trips, man.
Those are lead-up games to the World Cup. So
qualifiers, and then in between your qualifier and your next qualifier, there might be a big gap. So they organise a camp.
Yep.
So you'll go away and you'll play.
Yep.
I went to France one year and played the French under-20 team, and then a couple of local club teams, which are pretty good.
That's unreal.
French football's pretty good at youth level. So yeah, went to a lot of places. I'm pretty fortunate to travel. So
for people like me that probably don't know enough about soccer, would think that you train as a team, you get into a World Cup, you go and play, and then you come home. But when you find out obviously more information, there's a lot more travel, games, opportunities, and stuff there as a team. Yeah, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, the qualifying will take you a few years. Yeah, that's why the tournaments. You look at senior World Cups; they're every 4 years. They start pretty much after the World Cup's finished. The qualifying starts for the next one. Yeah. And they play every few months. They'll play a game, but it's and now Australia's moved into back in 2005. I think was the last time we qualified through Oceania and then moved into Asia. Yep. So now the qualifiers are all like Middle East, and you travel into Asia and playing against Saudi Arabia and Iran and all these countries you're going to. And tough games. Yeah. So you played about 21 games. Under 20s, is that right? Yeah, it would have been about that. How many goals exactly? Scored more at youth level than I did at senior level, believe it or not. I don't know what happened when I became a first team
senior footballer, just stopped scoring goals somehow.
How many
I
goals?
scored
to
about
score?
7, I reckon, in 20 something.
Yeah, okay.
I reckon. What did it say on
I
there?
got 5 off the internet. But,
5. Yeah, I don't know. That could be 5.
Yeah.
But
So
like I said,
it does say you
the
got one as
qualifiers.
a under 17 as well, so that might be wrong too. So we might put that in, we might say 6 in
Say
between
6.
there. So
The qualifiers you play back then was against Solomon Islands and Fiji, so
Yes.
scored a few against them.
yeah,
probably.
so not super sides.
No.
So when you were playing that under 20s, where were you locally? Like, as in, were you still at South Melbourne then?
I was so around that time. So the South Melbourne was 2001 to 2003, and then there was a break of 18 months before the A League started.
Oh, okay, yep.
So A League kicked off in 2005. So in between that, I was kind of just playing. I went back and played for Faulkner in the Premier League, the Victorian Premier League. So I was just pretty much I was finished school
Yep.
and I was just training like 3 nights a week,
Yep.
and that was it. And just living with my sisters.
Nice.
That was a good time. Actually.
It was like a gap year.
Yeah, that was a good time. Until pretty much that 2005 World Cup, the qualifying and all stuff, Melbourne Victory started, A League started, and they were getting their squad together. And I guess as a coach in a club, you would look at the best young kids at that age group were always in the national team. Who's from Victoria? Yep. So, me and 2 or 3 other guys, excuse me, who were in that team from Victoria, we all signed for Victory.
Yeah, okay.
So that was I was in the middle of playing, but there was no professional soccer around at that time.
Mm.
So was that like AFL has a draft? Did they have a draft or something like that, or
Nah.
they just got to pick whoever they wanted?
Yeah, so there's no draft in the soccer. You just whoever wants you just kind of makes contact and
Yeah.
whatever. So it could have been. I've had another mate from Melbourne who ended up signing at Brisbane, and it was just the way it was. Victory offered contracts, and we stayed.
Yeah.
We stayed there. We signed there, but it doesn't necessarily. It's not like the AFL gives it. Soccer's very different. to
Yeah.
the way that the way that you become a pro.
Yep. Okay, so where was the second World Cup? So that's 2005.
Yeah, second one was in Holland.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that was Europe. So that was
That-
one we were
that's
looking forward to. And
Massive.
yeah, and that was my age group, and we're coached by Ange Postecoglou.
Yep.
Both World Cups actually coached by Ange, who's now
Wow.
the manager of Celtic. Went on to be Socceroos manager, and
Yeah.
pretty intimidating figure when you're
Yeah.
18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
I
He
bet.
was. He ran a tight
Yep.
ship. So that was my proper age group and
Yep.
World Cup that I was most looking forward to. It was in Europe, and we had
Yeah.
Holland in our group as well.
Huge.
And then Ange named 3 captains. He named me and then 2 other guys, and we all kind of did a game each.
Yeah, okay.
So I was like co-captain of your
Nice.
country at 20. It was,
Yeah.
It's a good feeling. And
Yeah.
by dumb luck, I got Holland game.
Oh,
Exciting, but we got pumped. Yeah, so that was my game. I was captain of the team against Holland.
Yeah.
yep.
But they had such a good team. They had players that were playing in the Dutch First Division, some in England, in Premier League.
Wow.
At 20 years old,
Yeah.
some of those kids are like playing proper first team football.
Yeah.
We were in
Yeah.
between. Well, there wasn't even a league.
It was,
or
yeah,
anything.
there's not even a
So I was
league.
like, it's pretty tough for us to
Yeah.
compete, and
Yep.
we didn't get out of the group. We had Japan and we had Benin from Africa, and the first game of the tournament's always pretty much the one you need to win
Yep.
to set yourself up, especially if you got Holland next.
Yeah.
And we ended up drawing 1-1. We just couldn't score, so 1-1, kind of up against it. Lost to Holland, and then we had to beat Japan to go through.
Yep.
And we were winning 1-0, and they scored within like 30 seconds to go, and we drew.
Oh,
So we
wow.
didn't even get out of the group, which was disappointing.
Yeah.
We had a good team, but we just it wasn't our tournament. We didn't play
Yeah.
well enough to get through.
Yeah, okay.
So it was a bit disappointing, but yeah, having a World Cup, we played in front of 25,000 in
Yep.
Holland against them, and they were
That would have been huge.
Yeah. They were 2-0 up after 20 minutes, I think. So the crowd were
Yeah.
Oh,
wide
wow.
into it.
Crowd was up and about for them.
Yeah.
One of
So
those games, you look at the clock and you're about 8 minutes down. You're like, oh shit, how am I going to get through another 82 minutes of this?
Yeah.
yeah.
Tough, but
Yeah.
good
Okay.
experience. Really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you come home from the World Cup. Did you go straight to Melbourne Victory, or did you venture overseas to try your hand over Italy or anything like that, Europe? Or?
I did in the middle, like when there was no soccer. I was playing in the NPL, and I went overseas a few times. I had an agent at the time, and I went to Europe, trained at a few clubs. I went to Holland and Germany, and I went to Italy for a week. But it's a horrible experience going on trial.
Really?
Very, yeah. It's you don't know anyone. You're there. They look at you. Who are you? Kid from Australia.
Yeah.
So it's pretty daunting, pretty intimidating. You know,
Yeah.
you're going at that age. You're going for like a first team. You're training with the seniors.
Yeah.
And you're too old for the young team. You'll probably end up in the reserves, but when they look at you, they want to see you.
First grade.
And
Yeah.
see you like.
Yeah.
You just look around, think, what am I doing here? And it just
Yeah.
becomes it's difficult. And then you got to shine. You got to be at your best.
Yeah.
And it's very hard if
Yeah.
you don't know them. You don't call for the ball as loud as you should, or you don't get involved as much as you should. And
Yep.
in the end, I had no luck. And you get the old, you did really well, and we'll let you know. Go home.
Yeah.
And once they let you go home,
A polite see you later.
Yeah. Once they let you leave,
Yeah.
you're pretty
Yeah.
confident to know that you're not
Yeah.
coming back. So
That's do you think there was just that they didn't want to accept you from where you came, or that it just because you didn't grow up in the area, you didn't come up through
Yeah.
the ranks, and
Mate,
you're an outsider, or is
football
it?
in Europe is life and death. It's
Yeah.
not like here. Like,
Yeah.
we see foreigners come to Australia and they come and we're like, hey, nice. Where you living? I'll
Yeah.
take you for lunch and I'll show you this. And
Mm.
they say to us, you guys are mad. If you came to Europe, no one would speak to you because you're taking food off their table.
Yeah.
You take my position.
Yeah.
I don't have a contract. I can't feed my kids.
Yeah.
That's how it is over there. So they don't want to get to know you.
Too many
Unless-
players, not enough positions.
Yeah, there's loads of me out there.
Yeah.
Better, with no luck and along the way.
Yeah.
There's many footballers.
Yeah, okay.
That don't make it because they don't
Yeah.
want to work hard, or they've had no luck, or So it's like you go there and they don't, unless you've been there for a while, and then they slowly get to know that you're good enough and
Yeah.
you're a good guy and he's here to stay. Then
Yep.
yeah, so you probably need. And I found that the trials I went on, the 2-week ones were better. The second week, you felt more comfortable.
Yeah.
Players were kind of inviting you to lunch,
Yep.
but if you're there for a week,
Done.
3 days you don't speak to one, and then you got 2 more days,
Yeah.
and then you leave.
Yeah.
So it's-
What are we're talking sort of 15 years ago, 16 years ago, as such. So, I did listen to a podcast where Craig Johnson, Craig Johnson, when he went overseas, he went to. Have you heard that
Yeah.
his story? Like,
Yeah.
so yours. He's obviously older than what you are, so how hard it was back then. Like, he got invited over to a training camp and got to do one training session, and he was late for that training session.
Oh.
He'd arrived in this country to think, I'm here for a while, and
Yeah.
they pretty much said, no, see you later, come
Yeah.
back next year, sort of thing. He's like,
Wow.
well, what do I do now? And he hung around. So daunting back then, but still daunting 15, 16,
Probably
20
still
years
daunting
later.
now.
Probably
Like,
hasn't
it's
changed.
Not nice. Like I said, changing schools, and anything new is always
Yeah.
scary if you don't know anyone. And I remember leaving all those I went to Italy on the back. I was there in Germany and Holland, and then nothing happened. My agent said, "Look, while you're there, we'll send you to Italy, and then see how you go. Do another week in Italy, and while you're there, it's." And I didn't want to go. I was like, "Nah, I've had enough. I want to come home." So anyway, I went to Italy. Went to Perugia. They put you up in like the digs with all the other players.
Yeah.
I didn't speak Italian or anything, so they kind of just said, "Look, you stay in here with the guys and catch the bus to training at 10 o'clock with them, and we train at 10:30." I said, "Cool, yeah." So get up in the morning, have breakfast, all together. We go back in the room, but no one was in my room at the time. So I'm like, I'll just wait for someone. They'll come and get me or whatever. Then 10:30, I'm like, how do I get to training? I didn't go to training the first day. I didn't go, and I'm like, I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know where the bus was or anything.
Oh,
They
wow.
don't come and knock on your door and say,
No.
come with us. So they just left. I went training. They came home. So then I had dinner. I knew that I'd missed training. This is not good. The next day, someone else had come in my room, another foreigner or another player from Italy somewhere.
Yeah.
And we caught the bus together, and they said, "Where were you yesterday?" I said, "I don't know how to get to training. You didn't tell me where the bus was. No one come to get me." I said, "This is fucked." So in my head, I'm like, "This is shit. I just want to leave." So I ended up training there for a week. It got better, but not a good start. It's a bit similar to the Craig Johnson story.
Yeah.
You missed the first day.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
just wasting my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having a job and not turning up the first day.
Yeah. But I don't
See
know
you later.
how they
In a foreign country.
Yeah.
expected me to just get
Yeah.
myself to a training ground that I'd never been to.
No, that's right.
But
Yeah,
again,
so I was
there's
like-
what you said. There's so many players there. They don't really care that much. If
And it's a big investment for them. They've got to get an Aussie kid. You've got to look after him. You've got to make sure that he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Find somewhere for him to live. Wherever you got this guy's from here.
yeah,
Yeah.
With his mum and dad. We'll just take him
Yeah.
better.
Well, that was that then. Back home.
Yeah, back home. And I said then when I left, I'm never going on another trial again. If
Yeah.
the club
Yeah.
wants me, I want them to watch me play for my team.
Yep. Invite you.
And if they like what they see, I'll sign
Yeah.
a contract. But I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So 2005 started the beginning of the A League for you, and it started a massive journey.
Yeah, it
So
did.
it's,
So A-League kicked off, and I was part of the Victories inaugural season. But we had a pretty good team and pretty good midfield, and I was 20, I think, at the time. Yeah, 20 years old, and one of the young ones, one of the three younger players, under
Yep.
20s. You had to have three in your squad, which was me and the two other guys from the national team. So I didn't start a lot of games, but I was in the squad for like 17 or 18 games of 21 rounds we had.
Yep.
I think I only started about 4, but I was involved and played and
Yep.
loved it. And we didn't have a great season that
Okay.
year. We did really well, got to the top, and then we just died. We finished second or third last. Massive rebuild after that.
Yep.
The coach was under pressure to keep his job.
Yep.
Ernie Merrick it was at the time, and massive rebuild. We got a
First
few
season in a
Brazilians.
new league.
Yeah,
And
they
the
were calling for
pressure's
his
on
head
that
very
bad.
much. Like the banners at the first game of the following season were like Ernie out.
Oh, wow.
Get him out. So
It's insane.
it was
isn't
like if we start off like we did last
Crazy.
year,
Yeah.
he's gone.
Yeah.
And we went 7 games in a row undefeated,
Yep.
5 games clear on top of the league, and we lost 4
Yeah.
games for the year. But because we did so well, I didn't play. I played 7 games that
Okay.
year.
Yep.
So it was like our team pretty much. If you weren't in the team round 1,
Yep.
it's hard to make it. We won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
You don't change that
Yep.
that squad.
Yep.
So didn't play the second season as much as I
Yeah.
wanted to. I thought back on the back of the season before, I was involved a lot. This year I could kick on.
Yep.
And I didn't play that much. I only played a few games at the end as well when we'd already sewn it up.
Okay.
Wasn't involved in the final series. Went on to win the grand final 6-0. Archie
Wow.
Thompson scored 5 goals in the
I do
final.
remember
That's
that.
huge.
Yeah,
It was 5-0 up at half time, and
tore it
Yeah.
apart.
it was an unbelievable good squad to be around, and
Yeah.
the celebrations were great. And
Yeah.
Didn't get to sit on the bench or anything. Didn't.
Nah, so I
Didn't
wasn't in
get
the squad at
anything.
all.
Yeah.
So
So-
it wasn't suited up. So it doesn't feel like you're part of the grand final
Yeah.
win when you're
Yeah.
not involved. And now being an older guy, I think like the guys in the squad are very much a part of it, and it doesn't matter if they played or not. But when you're not the one playing,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
just don't feel like you should, or you can celebrate as much as those guys that were out there running.
Yeah.
So if you're not suiting up for the main game, who do you suit up for? Do you?
No. So back then there was no youth league. When it first kicked off, it was only the senior competition, and there was no.
That's it. No
so if
reserves,
you
no.
didn't- You didn't play. You didn't play.
So what?
So
You
it
just
was like
train and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was like, I don't want to be here again for
yeah.
another year and not play.
So-
Yeah.
Like at least if you're playing in a league where you got reserves, you can keep your game time and your match fitness and all those things that you need. So like once you've missed 4 or 5 games in a row,
Yeah.
and how does anyone expect you to get back into it
And that's the
or,
thing.
or prove yourself?
You don't play for 2 months, and then
Yeah,
there's an injury, and they say, right, Vinny, you're playing. And you play shit.
yeah. What do they
And they're like,
expect?
oh, you're not playing.
Yeah,
Well, I haven't played in 2 months.
yeah. Because the senior team's usually always watching a reserves team to see who's going to come in
Yeah.
and out. But that's
You're not match fit. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
That's
you're just
insane.
not- you're not
Nothing,
on.
yeah.
And it'll take you 5-6 games to get into it and
Yeah, that's
feel
right.
great, but you
Yeah,
don't get that
yeah.
opportunity.
So have they got that now though?
They do now, but to be honest, I think you can only have like 3 overage guys. So a lot of the older ones wouldn't play. The young ones that aren't involved. So back then, my
Yeah.
age, I would have played.
Yeah.
I would have played in youth league.
Yeah.
and
So
played,
that, at least that's changed. Yeah.
which is good.
But then if you're 25 or something like that and you're on the fringe, you just don't play.
Nah, pretty much. You
So-
don't play.
So by then, did you think it was done? Do you think you
Oh.
were because you'd been out of it for too long, or you?
Nah,
No?
I didn't. I kind of knew that they weren't going to offer me a new contract. I had a 2-year deal. And
Okay.
I thought there's no way that they're going to give me a contract. But to be honest, I don't want to stay
Yeah.
if I'm not going to play.
Yeah,
If
you're
I
not
need to
gonna
play.
Yeah.
So I was. It's not nice getting that phone call saying kind of,
Yep.
you know, I got a phone call saying, "Oh, can you come to Melbourne? We want to have a chat."
Mm.
And I was like,
Yeah, I think I know what that's about.
I rang my agent and he's like, "You're going to go to Melbourne and they're going to tell you that? Just call
Yeah.
them back and say, look, if you're going to tell me that I'm not required, just tell me now I'm not coming to Melbourne.
Yeah.
2 hours to sit in a 5-minute meeting."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I rang him back and I said, "Look, I kind of know what you're going to say, and if that's the case,
Mm.
then just tell me now. I'm not coming."
Yeah.
So you were home at this
I was
stage,
back in Shep, yeah.
as in just in the off season, or just,
Yeah, I would have been.
Yeah.
So I just said, I'm not coming there to hear that. Just
Yeah.
tell me now, and that's it. So it was Ernie Merrick was the coach, and he said, "Yeah, look, I think it's better for your development that you play, and you know you're going to be too hard to play in this midfield next year again.
Yeah.
So we're not offering you a deal."
Yep.
And that was it. So it was back
Yep.
to kind of, all right, let's see who else needs a midfielder.
Yeah, because
Where
no one
we
else
go.
had contacted you or
Not
anything at
this
that stage?
No.
No?
Not
So
at this
you
stage.
had no idea where you were going to be?
No, it just kind of that could have been it.
Yep.
And many players, that's it. Like the average career in the A League, I think, is 2 years.
Yeah.
is that what you thought? Like, did you?
I
think
didn't think that.
You
at the
didn't think
time.
that?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Positive
Which is pretty
mindsets.
naive, probably, because if it happened now, I'd think that. But
Yeah.
I didn't. I was just confident enough that
Yep.
someone will surely
Yeah.
play, and I'm still involved in the national team. Surely.
Yeah. All right. So you just lost your job,
Yeah, mate.
and then
Unemployed.
unemployed. Back to the drawing board. How did you go about getting the next one?
So I had an agent at the time, and as all footballers do, So I kind of spoke to him and said, "Look, what do we do? Where we have a look, put the feelers out, and see who wants a midfielder. Let me know." He rings me back and says, "We've got some interest in Brisbane. They'll offer a 2-year deal on X money and blah blah blah, or Wellington Phoenix are starting up. They had a team in the league, New Zealand Knights, who've gone bankrupt, and there's this young guy, Greek guy in Wellington, entrepreneur, property developer. He's bought the license, and they're starting a team in Wellington. 1-year deal, similar money to Brisbane, but I reckon you'll play more there. But it's up to you. What do you think?" So I'm kind of doing all the pros and cons and thinking, what do I do? Brisbane's closer, and they're a successful club. They're established, and will I play? I left Victory, or the issue was that I wasn't playing, and that's why I'm here where I am. I need to play.
Yeah.
So I said, look, let's go to Wellington. Let's go, give it a crack. I'm going to leave again and go to New Zealand by myself. But I had another guy from Victory, Michael Ferranti, who's one of my close mates, and we used to go to training together. He was signing there for 2 years, so it made probably the decision a bit easier. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go there. So I decided to go on a plane and go to New Zealand to a club that was just starting up.
Start a new club, new country for you.
Yeah,
Doesn't get any easier,
That's,
does it?
wow.
It was like
And how old were you still then?
I was 2007, so I would have been 22.
22.
21
21
when
and
I got there,
22.
20, just turned in 22.
That's still pretty daunting, isn't it? New
It
country.
was,
It's pretty similar to Australia, though, New Zealand, isn't
Yeah.
it? So
it was, and well, you think that when you get there and it's like they're so behind and it's freezing here and so windy.
it's so
but,
far behind.
mate, we turned up. We turned up.
Hello
So
to
then-
all our New Zealand friends out there.
Yeah, hey guys. All the Wellington Phoenix fans listening. Turned up. The national team were away. The head coach was the coach of the national team too, the New Zealand national team.
Righto.
And he was away on a camp. They were playing Wales. Most of the players that we'd already signed, so I'd look at the squad, and we'd signed half a team.
Yep.
They were all with the New Zealand team. So they were away. We got picked up by a guy, I think the accountant or something from the Greek guy. Picked us up, took us to the hotel. The
Wow.
next morning, we'll get someone to pick you up and come and show you around.
Yep.
He picked us up, and we went to like the training ground. It was just like, it was where we were going to train, but it wasn't ours. It was the athletics track, and these are change rooms, and this is where you'll be. Me, Mick, and Ross Aloisi, who used to play in Europe and play for the Socceroos, and he was signed. He was our captain. So it was us three, and then a Brazilian kid that we signed.
Yep.
Daniel. Us four.
Yep.
And no one else.
Wow.
For like 4 days. They were all away, and we were like, what are we doing here? There's no club. No one's here.
there's nothing. And
Kick
as
the
a new
ball for a
team, we
while.
had these issues at Victory, like with the kit and all the training stuff kind of arrives in dribs and drabs because
Yeah.
it's new and it takes months for
Yeah.
you to kind of get. So we were training. We were there for a week without anyone else there,
Yep.
just kind of exploring Wellington,
Winging it.
going, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Going out, going for dinner, going out.
Yep.
Nothing the next day. And we're like waiting for them all to kind of arrive.
Wow.
When they all got back, we started pre-season and all dribs and drabs, players like trying to find kit and
Yeah.
like, just all teething problems that you have
Yeah.
with a startup. It was a bit of a nightmare the first few months,
Mm.
but we played that first season and again had a pretty average first season.
Okay.
Finished last or second last, I think.
Yeah.
Or second last.
Yep.
Really bad defense. We played some good stuff and just couldn't like hold them out. We'd concede
Yep.
goals, and so massive rebuild again, second
Yep.
season, and brought in a few other guys, and
So you mentioned you
that
went
was
on
the beginning.
You mentioned you went on a 1-year contract. When did you pick up another one? Halfway through? Or?
Yeah. So I was injured pre-season. I had a clean out of my knee, and I ended up missing. It got misdiagnosed, and then the recovery was delayed, and I ended up missing the first 8 games of that season, and then played the next 14. But again, luck if you're injured at the wrong time, and
Mm.
so I played the last 14, and then by a few months to go, the coach kind of said, "I want you to stay." Offered another 2-year deal on more money, and so I was
Yep.
like, "Yeah, cool, I'll stay." Another 2 years.
Yep.
I was playing, which is what I went there
You
for.
obviously played well that
Yeah.
second half of the
I was
season, though.
22 years old
Yeah.
and playing, starting and playing every week.
Yeah,
Which
nice.
is the reason I went.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. When you mentioned on your contract, you signed a 2-year deal with more money. I don't need you to tell me how much you earned, but like, what is you hear these guys in Europe and England and all that on these absolutely ridiculous amounts of money. What is the money like in the
Not
A League?
like that. Not like that, to answer your question. Nah, it's
Is it similar
it's a good,
to the AFL or is it not?
probably less than the AFL,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
it's a good wage for a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of football, if you're looking at sportsmen, probably not.
What would the average be? Would it be
I think
100
the
grand? Or?
average is 150,
Yeah, okay.
and you got players up to $1 million.
Yeah,
But
okay.
Probably a lot around the 200k mark,
Mm.
100 to 200k.
So you can
I
still
think
make a good living.
Now, minimum wage is 65 for the young ones,
Yeah.
and then it
Yeah.
goes right up to.
So
with
you
the
can still
salary
make a good
caps.
living. Just
You can make a good living.
Yeah.
It's not enough to retire and not
No.
work.
yeah,
So it's a job, and you make a good living while you're doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's once it's over, it's
Yeah.
you don't have
yeah.
much left, kind of thing. So.
So you kick off first season, get a 2-year deal, more money, which is good. 9 seasons at Wellington.
10 seasons.
10 seasons. I think that's just
Thanks,
my
Bully.
calculations.
We're going to blame Google a lot for this.
Yeah. 10,
My calculations.
Is it, or is it your maths?
197 games
197 games.
with Wellington.
Yeah.
That's huge.
4 goals. Like I said before, I stopped scoring.
I've got 4 goals. I've got a couple of your goals stuck away.
4 good
here.
ones. 4 good ones.
What position did you play?
I was a midfielder, centre midfielder, so like defensive midfielder. So
Which
not going to score many goals, but
normally doesn't score.
usually good ones. If you can do it, you can score 4 or 5 a year. That's
Yeah.
it in 20, 30 games. So it's not and I'm scoring 1 every 4 years. I've gone the other way.
Oh, well. So that's long, 10 years. So
Yeah.
apart from the fact that English speaking was probably a good start going to New Zealand, tell us about the difference in the two countries.
Oh, I think it's very English over there.
Really?
Yeah. So my mate Mick that played with me, he played in England. as
Yeah.
well. He played for West Ham, and he goes, it's very English. The way the houses are,
Yeah.
the climate's very English, and a lot of the things that they did was more English than Australian.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, it's close to us, but the climate's very different.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like moving away for a 10-year winter, was it?
pretty much. Yeah. It was called Windy Wellington. So
Fair enough.
Maybe Wellington goal.
Yep. So you stayed with a couple of other guys for the whole time, or you batched it on your own, or?
Yeah. So the first year I moved in with 2 other players.
Yep.
Who
who were all under the same kind of management group as me.
Yeah, okay,
but
yep.
Very different characters, and
Yeah.
it was like, didn't spend much time. Well, one guy was alright, the other one didn't spend much time outside of training and stuff with
Yeah,
him.
okay, yep.
Then the year after, I moved in with Mick. So
Yep.
we lived together. He lived on his own. Then we moved together, and then me, him, and another guy lived together. And then I did my own thing. And
Yep.
then, yeah, so I moved around.
Yeah,
bit.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just trying to put together a 10 years is a long time.
Mm.
Like if you spent 7 of those living on your own.
nah. So I lived with other guys all the time, which
Yeah,
is good.
yep.
I lived a year probably by myself
Yep.
towards the end, and then my missus came over. And
Yep.
Where'd you meet your missus?
She's from here, actually. I knew her before I left, and she kind of went to primary school with my mates, and I knew her and see her in the off season and kind of see her out and try it a bit, and then get nothing and go back to Wellington, and a few messages as you know, social media's kicking off, and you send her a fake Facebook message, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I knew her already.
So you worked it out, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
You worked it out. And
You worked
Took
it
me
out.
like 7 years to kind of make it official. Or
Yeah, okay. And then so she moved over?
She didn't initially. She
Yep.
we kind of did long distance thing, and
Okay.
she had a year or 9 months where it was just too hard. So
Yeah.
it became like the next season I went back. I said, "You're like, you either can't have to come back because I've got another year, but this will be it. This is the last year, and then
Yep.
I'll come back." And that was like 5 years later.
Yeah.
I was like, "I promise," because she's like, then she didn't like it because she'd never moved away from home. And,
Yeah.
it was
So-
cold and.
Benny just asked you what's the difference, obviously, Australia and New Zealand. Like, if you look at the rugby and stuff, they embrace their Maori culture. Does that creep into soccer at all, or like you don't do the haka before the games?
Nah, we
and-
don't because we're like little white guys, or the soccer guys are little. It doesn't have the same effect. Doesn't have the same effect. They can do it, but
like that.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see you, little skinny white guy, doing the haka. I'll wait for the All Blacks to come on and I'll watch them do it.
I like it.
But yeah, you know what? The culture of New Zealand is great. Like we don't have that in Australia with the indigenous culture.
Yeah.
And it's now starting to kind of come out, and with the Dreamtime stuff with the
Yeah.
AFL. But when I left, there was nothing. You don't learn about
Mm.
the indigenous history in,
Yeah,
in
it's a
schools, and
real shame, isn't it?
they do there. Like my mates' kids went to school. They were learning Maori. Aussie kids doing New Zealand school, learning to speak
Yeah.
Maori. It's
I think it's
really
fantastic how they embrace it over there, and Australia should do more of it. I
Yeah,
think so.
it
It's
is.
it's really good when you go over there to see their culture and what they came from. It's fantastic. So, you mentioned you kicked one goal every 4 years. What was your first goal?
my first one was against Victory. So I left.
Against the old club?
Yeah. So I went. This is a good story actually. I went to Wellington, signed like Victory, no contract. A little bit pissed off that I wasn't there, and I needed to move on, but still,
Yeah.
you want to be the one to make that call, not
Yeah.
not them. So
Yeah.
we played them at Telstra Dome that season, the following season, and it was Monique's and Bully's wedding that
Sweet.
day,
Sister's wedding.
the same day.
Same
And I was
day.
like, oh, I kind of want to play because it's against Victory, but I know it's your wedding. And she's like, she let me kind of, in the morning, I got up and I left the hotel and I went to do the photos. We did the church because I was in the bridal party. So I did the photos, did the church, went to the photos after, and they're like, any photos with Vinny in it got to do first
Yep.
because he's got to go. But then I left, went to the hotel, got changed, went to the game, played, scored, finished 1-1, and then got changed into my suit in the change room, and my mate picked
Back.
me up and took me to the reception, which was nearly finished by the time I got there.
It was nearly finished.
But the time that I scored, I get to the wedding, and my dad and everyone's telling me the story. Right as my dad's saying the wedding speech,
Oh.
everyone's phone's going off, and he's like, "What's going on?" And everyone's like looking at their phones, and they're like, "Oh, Vinny's just scored." And they're like, he reckons like the whole recession erupted, and
Yeah.
it's like they're all just excited.
That's
It's my
awesome.
wedding day, and everyone's excited.
Yeah.
about you scoring a goal.
Yeah. It was quite funny that. I was actually there at that.
Oh,
Yeah, I was there. So I think it was Joey or someone yelled it out. Vinny scored. And me was like, what? He scored? Whoa! When he's going,
Yeah,
Let's go through your speech, Dad.
Yeah. It's my day.
Yeah. Quite funny. 10 years, 197 games. Unbelievable. Mate, not many blokes even get to play 10 years. You've already, you've done 2 years at Melbourne Victory, then 10 at Wellington. Where from there?
So from there, I left. So I was probably there 2 years too long, to be honest. The club, I was probably ready to go, but I signed on another year to make it 9 years, and then the following year I wanted to do 10 to get like a testimonial. It's like a pretty special event where, celebrate your time there. So I stayed on for that last year and then kind of knew that would be it. But at the time we had coaching got sacked. New coach was coming in, but they didn't have a coach at the time. So they were kind of giving the old, we don't know what we do with you. We can't give you an answer yet because we don't have a coach. We're going to wait till we sign the coach and then let him decide on the playing group. And I was like, look, that's fair enough, but I can't wait around. I'm not from here. I'm not staying 2 months or another month and then the coach signs and then he says, no, I don't want him. So I said, I'm going to go. I'm packed up, I sold all my stuff, and I said, I'm going back to Melbourne. Knew in my head that I'm not coming back, but I wanted to be the one to make that call. So I said to the club, look, if he comes in and he says, I don't want him, I've got my own midfielders, that's fine. But let me know. I want to, and that's fine. I said, that's fine, you tell me that. But if he wants me and the money's not good, or you think the offer's disrespectful, because he said that we won't have much money for you, and said, if you think it's disrespectful, you tell me and I'll decide whether it is, and I'll be the one to turn it down. Just call me.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no problem. And so I went home and no call, no contact for weeks, and then you read in the paper that they've signed a coach, no contact. Started pre-season, no contact. And I'm like, it's pretty disrespectful. I was there for 10 years and he didn't want to ring because the coach didn't want me. I'm like, well, I told you that. I don't mind that. That's his call. That's his decision. He doesn't know me. It's a foreign guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a little bit disappointed the way it all ended. But I was, again, out of a job. Same situation I was in 10 years before.
Yep.
And this time, a little bit worried that's it. This could be it. I'm 32.
Yeah.
Not many players can play after that age. Some don't even make it that long. And so I was kind of like, this could be it.
Yeah.
Braced for the fact that, could be looked into Asia, see if any agents had anything in Asia, Thailand, Indonesia. I'd like to maybe play a few years over there and experience a different culture and see how we go.
So obviously at the end of that, you're still playing good soccer though.
Yeah, I played every game that year.
Yeah.
Didn't miss a minute. I think I played every minute of every game that season.
That's
so
unreal.
I still felt my body was still good, and I felt like I could contribute to
another team.
So I decided to, because by that time all the football directors or football operations managers at all the clubs I'd either played with or against over the course of the last
they'd all moved around
12 years, and now they've retired and they've gone into those roles.
Yep.
So I just emailed them all myself. I said to my agent, look, the last few years of Wellington, I said to him, I'm just going to do my own negotiation because I'm giving you a cut and you're not really doing much.
Shit.
I know
you're not doing shit, man. So
I'm
I'm
not
do it
to be
myself.
disrespectful, but I know him well. I've got a relationship here. I can do that. Even if it's less than what you'll get me, is a cut that I give you, it ends up being the same. So that was kind of it with my management group.
So you managed
at the
yourself
time.
from
So
there
then
on
from
in.
there, and I thought any other A-League deals I'll get, I'm happy to kind of just try myself. This may not be the right call, but
What made you decide that? You just think experience, been in the game long enough? You've
a little
you've
bit.
been around.
And just my missus as well, just saying, well, you're paying someone to. Fair enough if you need him to broker a deal with someone you don't know or a country that you're not familiar with, but you're there, you know these guys, you see them every day, you've been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
So she kind of got the idea in my head, and I'm like, you know what, you're right, I can do that. And it's hard to put a value on yourself and go into a meeting and talk money or which is not good, but it ended up being, I think, the right decision. And I did that again in Adelaide. I emailed all the clubs and said, look, I'm out of contract. If you need a midfielder, let me know. I saw Adelaide
I messaged emailed the football operations guy from Adelaide, and he said we haven't signed the coach, but when we do, I'll get in contact.
Yep.
I see in the media that they'd signed a coach, so I emailed him again,
Mm.
and I said, look, let me know if he needs midfield. And I saw a lot of the experienced guys had left, so
Yep.
they had no guys pretty much over 30. They had a couple, and the rest were young.
Yeah, okay.
And I thought this might be a chance here. They might need some experience.
Yep.
And he wrote back and he said, I'll give you a buzz. I'm on the plane back from Germany now with the coach. He called me when they got back and he said he wants you to come for a trial.
The old trial.
And I said,
no more trials.
yeah.
Turn
I
up on the
said,
first
mate,
day.
as long as make it to training. Make the training. So I said, look, does he really want a midfielder? Does he need one, or does he just? I'm just going to come there and waste my time, because if not,
Yep.
I'm not coming. I don't feel like I need to come on a trial. I've been playing for 15 years, but I get it that he doesn't know anyone. He doesn't know any player from Australia.
Yeah.
I understand that. So if he's really interested in a midfielder and looking for my type of player,
Look at my highlight
I'll come.
package.
I'll come.
Yeah, send him some videos.
So I went. It was like a week
Yeah.
thing. Different feeling because I knew some of the players. I played with them, and I was an experienced guy, and I didn't feel as vulnerable or as out of my
It's
depth as I did when I was 16.
Yeah, just another time, another place.
But again, you have to,
You're fighting for a job.
you have to, impress, and
Mm.
you have to do well enough to get a contract. And
Yep.
I stayed there for 10 days and played a half a game for the team in a friendly game on a Wednesday, and he goes, the coach likes you, he wants you to stay.
Nice.
I said, cool. So 1 year deal.
Yep.
Yeah, 1 year deal, and I stayed there, and I was there 3 years in Adelaide.
Yep.
You'd expect a 1 year deal though, wouldn't you, as a
Yeah.
bit of a veteran now that most.
I actually I wanted a 2 year. Obviously, pushed for it, thinking I'm not going to get it. But
Yeah.
he goes, what about 1 year? And if you play X amount of games, it just rolls over another year.
Yeah, okay.
So that was
Yep.
that was what I'd signed. And
Yep. So how'd those 3 years go there in that team?
so I played.
But that's 3 years. You might not have scored a goal because you only score
No.
every four.
Well,
So
I scored three for Adelaide in 30 games. So
wow.
Did
and I got there, and I think I've played one game against Brisbane, round 2.
Yeah.
So the first game of the season, I was suspended because I got too many yellows from the year before for Wellington.
Oh wow.
So I was like, I'd missed the first game, which was Wellington away.
Oh.
So I missed that game. Played round 2 against Brisbane, and then round 3 was victory at home, Adelaide Oval,
All right.
which was that game.
Let's have a. We've got to look at this one. So
I ended up in that game 2 goals.
Yep.
So I'd scored 2 and 2 for Adelaide.
2 and 2.
They
all
thought
right,
I was a goal scoring midfielder.
Yeah.
we've got this on the big screen here, so let's have a look. Hopefully it works.
That's not.
Hang on, here we go. Bloody internet here.
Internet's fine.
Oh, that wasn't it.
That's not it.
Who's that against?
Wellington. The victory.
Yeah, okay. Let's go and find the victory, which is.
Yeah. So this is the victory game at Adelaide Oval.
This is at Adelaide.
Yeah, Adelaide Oval, yeah.
That's on the left, mate. That's a bullet. An absolute bullet. This is the same game. Are you pretty happy with that one?
That was better. Because I actually had time to think about that one. The first one, I just swung my leg at it.
What were you thinking to yourself about now after you've been you've been on a drought?
Oh, watch this one. Watch this one. Boom.
Oh,
That's the one you were looking for before.
Yeah. Where was that? That's at Wellington.
That was in Hamilton. Yeah, but it was a home game, but we played a game in...
That's an absolute beast, that one. That's a rocket.
So that year in Adelaide was my first year. I ended up scoring 2 goals, and then
yeah.
I got landed on in the last minute and did my medial.
Oh.
So I was
Did your
injured.
knee?
Yeah, did my medial. I was out for 6 weeks,
Oh.
and then I came back and I played 2 games and did it again.
Really?
Out for 6 weeks, came back, played 2 weeks, did it again. So I did my medial 3 times. I played 9 games. I scored 2 and 2. And I remember they kept saying, "Oh, when are you back? We need goals." And I'm like, yeah. Won't be long. And I'm thinking, I better just stay injured.
Yeah.
Keep the
dream
I'm a goal
alive.
scoring midfielder.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a
Roller
letdown
coaster, that
year,
one.
but
Yeah.
re-signed. I did enough in those 9 games. The coach liked me, and I
Okay.
re-signed. And
Was that, speaking of injuries, is that the only injury you've had, or did you get anything else? Or
so yeah, back in Wellington, rewind after the first year, played those last 14 games and re-signed another 2-year deal. The following year, did a full pre-season and felt super fit. The friendly before the first game, I did my ACL,
oh,
so I missed that whole season.
whole season
yeah.
out.
And then I talked about luck earlier.
Yeah.
That if that was the last year of my contract,
Yeah,
I could have been done at 22.
6 months before it would have been all over.
I could have been retired or finished at 22, and who knows if I would have got another contract. But I was lucky enough that I had another year.
Yep.
So I did pretty much that whole season, missed and rehab, and was fit enough bang on like pre-season for the next season. So then I played and did well enough to get another 2-year deal, and then I've been okay since. I've just had like hammies, soft tissue from the knee.
Yeah.
A lot of soft tissue on that left side.
Yeah.
And then up until those 3.
Yep.
3 in that year.
Yeah. But can't do much about it. You just get landed on and
Yeah. And the older you get too, mate, the
And
harder it is too. So harder for the body to recover.
Yeah.
So you did 3 years at Adelaide.
Yeah, well, 2.5.
2.5, yeah.
We got the 3rd year, we signed a coach from Holland who, right from the beginning, I knew was going to not be received well. We just didn't get along, and I wasn't going to play. I knew, but I didn't. I just had a feeling about him. He just wasn't a good guy and not a good coach. And it was the last year of my contract, and got to like December, and in soccer there's a transfer window in January. If you want to leave, you can sign somewhere else in January if they let you leave.
Yep.
It got to like December, and I kind of had a chat to him, and he said, "Look, next year, realistically, we're not going to offer you a contract. The young kid that's playing is doing well. You know, you're being really professional and all this bullshit that they say." And he's kind of said, "If you find something else, we'll let you go."
Yep.
And I was like, if I want to continue playing, I need to play.
Yeah.
I can't just sit here for another 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Clubs won't sign a 35-year-old, I don't think, who hasn't played.
Yeah.
So I did the email again, asked around, and said, "Look, I'm free. If Adelaide will let me go, if you want, in January you need to strengthen." And Perth ended up replying to the email, and they were just about to begin like an Asian Champions League campaign. So in Australian soccer, the winners of the grand final, and I think the Premier Plate, they qualify for a tournament in Asia. All the best clubs in all the Asian competitions play, and that was kicking off in Feb. So they needed, because they'll be midweek Wednesday night in Japan, come back Saturday will be a A-League game.
Yeah.
So you'll have a pretty heavy schedule coming up, and they needed more of a squad. And you could sign 23 players for your A-League, but you can have 30, I think, Asian Champions League.
Yep.
Some of those players will only be for the Champions League, some are only A-League, some can play both.
Yep.
So they were strengthening their squad. So they said, "Look, we'll need you. We're going to have a pretty full-on schedule coming up. You'll get some game time because we've got so many games, blah, blah, blah." So I moved to Perth, packed up everything, and I left Alicia in Adelaide. I said, "Look, I've got to go now. They want me like next week there." So I packed up and left and said, "You've got to like finalise everything and come in, or find out what I'm doing.
Yep.
If I'm going to stay another year, then come. Otherwise, we'll be 4 months apart or whatever." So that kind of kicked off, and that was January, Feb. Went to Japan. I didn't play in that first game. I didn't play much for the first month or so. And then like COVID kicked off, and Asian Champions League got canned, the A-League stopped, and just kind of all died. And I went back to Adelaide where she was, and we just had like 2 months of just limbo and negotiations on resuming and when we're going to finish off the season, if we are. So I ended up kind of doing a few months of just living in Adelaide, just training on my own and waiting for an answer on the season. We ended up negotiating to come back and play in a hub. We only had 6 games left. So there was like
come back, we'll do 6-week pre-season in Perth, and then we'll fly to Sydney, and every team's in Sydney in a hub, and you play. So I left again in June, went to Perth, did the pre-season, and it was mid-July, we started the A-League season, finished it off till the end of August. But then we didn't have a heavy schedule. We had all these players, so I didn't play much. I played a few games off the bench,
Okay.
and that was it. Then Perth said, look, we're not going to offer you a contract. I did the same thing. I came back to Melbourne, but then by then I was just over it. I was like, look, to be honest, I don't really want to chase it anymore. 36.
Yeah, it makes it tough.
Mm.
I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to do that all for another year,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to retire anyway.
Yep.
I'll see. So I was like, I'll see. Send an email out. If anything comes back good, I'll give it a crack. But hopefully it's a Melbourne team.
Yep.
I'm hoping, Western United, maybe they're quite new, and Victory, if they want to rebuild, I don't know. We'll just see how it goes, and then try Asia again, and we'll see.
Yep.
But nothing really come of it, and I didn't try as hard as the last few times, and I just thought, you know what, maybe it's a sign I'm done. I'm 36. If it was 30 and I had 5 years left in me, I would have pushed. But I'm like, I'm going to do all that for a year, and then I'm going to pack up, move, and then 6 months later you're packing up again.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to live like that anymore. So that was it. That was
the
how it
end.
ended.
So how many games did you end up with?
259, I think.
And what's the record?
Jura, my mate's got 320 odd.
Wow.
So I'm top 10 or something. But then
Top
51 NSL, so 300 top flight games. So
Still a lot of
That's
games.
pretty good, isn't it?
it is. Looking back, it's
a pretty good career.
Considering there was 21 games a season and
Yeah.
27 the most. So it's it's a lot of years.
What's the average? I know like the average in AFL is something like 12 games or something. Like it's...
Yeah, well, I think the average contract's 2 years. Probably is around that. Like if you're young, you don't play much.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit higher than 12. The younger ones are getting more of a game, but wouldn't be much more than 20 or 30, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's an unbelievable career at the top league.
Yeah.
The
so I
highest,
was
the
lucky.
highest in
It's
Australia.
been
And-
ups and downs and tough and roller coasters and good times, and then the last few years have just become like difficult. You just because you're not playing as well, but then it's more the moving, the uncertainty of where you're going to live.
Yep.
It's not just me now. It's Alicia's with me, and
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm uprooting her life. She's changed jobs, and then I'm moving her again. And
Yeah.
you start thinking about having kids, and
Yep.
we're gonna have kids, and then
Yeah, it makes
move
it
them.
tough.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to wait till we got back to Melbourne, and
Yep.
So
Time to settle down.
yeah.
when you finish the season, you have a decent break. What did you do in the off seasons? Because you don't really have a job
Nah,
as such,
so
so you get a bit of a break.
Yeah, you get... So when I was like by myself, I'd come back to Melbourne straight away, catch up with mates, go out, do a few weeks, and then you're bored. Everyone's at work.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm ready to go back to training. But then when Alicia came, a travel agent, she's booking holidays all year. So we planned some pretty hectic trips. Without kids, we're like, let's do all these first.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty
we
cool.
did South America, Africa, safari in Africa. We did Europe the last 2 years before it all kicked off. We just went to Europe. We'd been, Cook Islands. We went to...
Yep.
Yeah, we did a few. We did Bora Bora. We've done a few good ones, and then we're like, all the other ones, Fiji and all that, we've been, but they'll be the trips you can do with kids. And we did the South America trip and Africa with get it out the way and do it.
Yeah.
Did a river cruise. She got a real good discount on the river cruise. A European from France, all the way through France.
Yeah.
Like, she got it for like 95% discount. So
Wow.
We were the youngest by about 65
Yeah, I
years.
was going to say that's
They all
normally
just
the
kept,
old
what
one.
are you doing on here? It was ridiculously how old they are.
Yeah.
And we were like, but it was fun. We did 2 weeks on a river cruise, and then did a bit of France ourselves, and
Yeah,
that was
cool.
nice. So we enjoyed the off seasons.
Very good. Now, staying away from soccer for a minute, I heard a little bit of a whisper. I don't know who would have told me this, but Cleo magazine used to do a Bachelor of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Were you involved in that?
So you mentioned earlier if I didn't want to talk about anything.
Ah.
And then I thought, I wonder what they got up their sleeve. Nah, I'll talk about it. Yeah, I was in that. I didn't win.
I think my mum bought all the copies. So it was a bit of a stitch up, to be honest.
Really?
Well, a little bit.
How did you actually get involved in
So
that?
the club come to me. It was through the club, Victory. And the guys at the club, or the lady there, was like, look, Cleo have asked anyone wants to do it. They put your name and asked if you're interested. And I'm like, yeah, all right. What is it? Photo shoot? I'll do it. No problem. And then they're like, I just didn't ask anything about it. I'm just like, yeah, no worries. I'll do it. No worries. It's a centerfold shoot. Whatever. We get to the shoot, and the girl was like, it's pretty raunchy. And I was like, oh, like no shirt. And she's like, oh, no clothes. Like, oh, well, it's kind of too late now to back out. And then I was young. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. And then it was pretty horrible. Pull out this like skin-colored G-string, and she's like, you got to put that on. We'll air it out or whatever. But
brush it,
brush it out. And I was just thinking, what have I done? What am I doing?
Speaking of G-string, have a
That's
look
pretty
at.
funny.
No, I haven't got a.
Oh,
I nearly
That's
got
good.
one. I nearly been able to pull one out of the bag there, but no, I couldn't.
It does come up every now and
Yeah.
then. Every time I like go somewhere new, they seem to find it, and I'm like, yeah, this was a long time ago, guys. And yeah, I remember Alicia actually said that one of her co-workers, a gay guy at her work, had it on his desk.
Oh, that's
Didn't
gold.
know who I was or anything, but she's like, I know you.
I know him.
That's
That's
gold.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
fantastic.
like that.
All right, that's enough of the enough of the closet stuff. Where are you now? You're still playing now?
Yeah, so now I'm playing in the NPL. So I'm playing just in the top league in Melbourne. Semi-professional, but still, quite a commitment. You 3 or 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
You still get paid, so it's like you still got to put in the time and effort because
Yeah.
they're paying you money. But it keeps me busy, and I'm working now as well. I'm working for Air, who is Peter Law's company. He's got a factory here in Melbourne and all over the country. Actually, we're like distributors of all rural products and farming supplies and pet stuff. So Bully got me that job actually. So I'm just in a new role, man. It's customer service, sales. Enjoying it actually. Just absolutely thrown in the deep end.
Yeah, how long you been there for?
10 months.
10 months. So
Yeah.
first, well, I'm going to come out and say it. First, like job
First, yeah.
working
First
apart
job.
from sport
Yeah.
in your life at what 36.
Yeah.
It's bizarre for
Again,
some,
pretty
isn't it?
intimidating, man.
Yeah. How'd you feel your first day?
Oh, I was shitting myself, man.
Were you?
Yeah. It's
Just because it was something so different, or
new.
just
yeah,
new?
I got no idea what I was doing. Like, and that industry I got no idea about. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not even an industry that I know. If I went and
Yeah.
worked in a selling sports stuff, I
Yeah.
probably would be fine. Well, not fine, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, and we got 3,000 products. I don't know any of them.
Yeah. But you got there on the first day, though.
Yeah, I got
Someone picked him
That's
up.
all
on
we
the bus.
thought. Just be there on the first day on time, and you'll keep your job.
lucky I didn't have to catch the bus. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How did you go, like, being tired or anything like that? Your first job, like you haven't really done a 8 to 5 job. Did it take it out of you a little bit to start
Actually,
with, or
nah.
you're okay?
No, actually better. Like, physically, it's
Yeah.
obviously nothing. I'm sitting down. I actually
Yeah.
found it easier. Like,
Mm.
at my age, playing soccer, I used to get home and be
Yeah.
pretty tired, and it
Yeah.
would ruin me. Training after work is tough. Like,
Yeah.
going to training and then getting home at 9.
Mm.
Then I was
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
Getting up and going to work, that's foreign. Like, you got long
Yeah.
days. You're leaving home at 7. I don't get home till 9.
Yeah.
But essentially, you got 2 jobs. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So,
and everyone, that's what people do. It's foreign to me, but it's
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
other player in that league does the same.
That's what they
Most
do.
of them are tradies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're on the jackhammer all day and then go to training. I don't know how they do that, but
yeah.
I feel alright. A little bit like, because physically you're fine. Obviously you're sitting down,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
mentally it's a bit more draining.
Yeah.
Staring at the computer all day and trying to concentrate so hard because it's so new.
Yeah.
I found that the first month was difficult trying to retain all new information.
Yep.
I just felt like it was pushing old information out,
Yeah.
just because I had no base really. I was
Yeah.
starting pretty much
Mm.
from scratch. But pick it up quick. you have no choice, sink or swim.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think they're pretty happy with the way I've
Yeah,
kind of
that's good.
grasped it all. It's
Yep.
so new for me, but I'm enjoying it. New
Yeah, that's
challenge,
good.
and it's
New
more
challenge,
stable, and
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to
Bit
be
more of
here.
a routine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
So
good.
right now it's going well.
It's awesome.
So playing pretty much like they classify it as suburban football nowadays. Is that what they sort of say?
Yeah.
Suburban
Yeah.
soccer. Did you want to go down the coaching path, or you don't want to do that?
I still might, probably not as a career, because, like I said, the lifestyle of a footballer I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to have to move and pack up and go every 6 months. And as a coach in soccer, it's worse. You could be 4 games into your contract and they sack you.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you get paid out, but you still have to uproot your family, and and there's not many jobs as a head coach in Australia. There's 12 teams.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're looking into Asia, and you're traveling abroad again. And
Yeah.
at the moment, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
But the coaching side does interest me a little bit. So when I'm old enough or too old to play, I think I'll get involved in coaching either youth kids or
Yeah.
a senior team at a lower level.
Yeah.
So I've started doing my coaching licenses.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Nice.
And I think my role with Altona, where I'm playing, I'll have a little bit of a coaching influence this year.
Yep.
Sitting on the meetings and see kind of how they do it, and
Yep.
start to get involved and start to move into that.
How many
aspect,
years
I
as a
think.
player you got left?
No, I don't know. Depends on what level I want to play. Probably, I don't know, one maybe at NPL level, and then you can go down a bit. But I'll be 37 when the season kicks off. So 30, probably 2 more, I reckon. Maybe
2 more.
Yeah.
Wow.
It all depends on my body, how I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Last year, with the stopping and starting through COVID, it wasn't good for me. Like trying
Yeah.
to train by myself, and then I kept coming back and getting injured and doing hammies and calves, and
Yeah.
so we'll see if the season's normal and I get through it without any injuries, and I think I'd go around again. But
Yeah.
I'll just have to see every year how I feel and how my body feels, and
And you got to have that balance
that too.
from now on too, don't you? Like with
Yeah.
job and
New baby.
Yeah,
family, mate.
I don't want to never be home as well.
no, you got to make the most of that.
Mhm.
As much as you can, as well. You can't get that time back either. So
yeah, so that'll all come into
yeah,
it.
for sure.
Whether you can play lower level and train twice a week instead of 3 or
Yeah,
4.
back that off.
You
But
know.
yeah,
One of the questions I had for you when you mentioned early on that your dad said they reckon you're too rough at Aussie rules. Did you have a bit of a reputation as a hard nut in the all your professional career?
Yeah, probably. I don't know if other players would call me a hard nut, but I've got a lot of yellow cards, so I lived a bit on the edge. I like to tackle.
Yeah,
and,
that's good.
Get involved in a bit of the dirty
Yeah,
stuff.
okay. So
Yeah.
a bit of a bad
I loved it.
reputation.
Yeah. And my mum always says you didn't get that from your dad because he would never do that to anyone. So
So you got it
wasn't
from
that
her.
kind of, well, I think I got it from her dad. Yeah,
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 right.
okay.
on the Palmer side, I think.
Okay. Who was her dad?
Doug Palmer. He played premiership for Geelong.
52 grand final.
Wowzers.
He was
Yeah.
a bit rough on the pitch apparently.
Yeah,
Bit
okay.
of white line fever from what I hear.
Yeah, okay.
So I could have got it from him.
Could have got it from him. Didn't get it
Yeah.
from dad because he's a softie.
Nah,
So.
that's what she says.
Oh,
So I'm not the stereotypical soccer player
yeah.
rolling around. I'm usually the one standing
Standing up.
Telling them to get up.
Yeah.
You're making us look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Very
gold.
good.
I like that.
All right. Well, it probably brings us to a bit close to the end at the moment. So we've gone right through your whole life, and which is pretty interesting, and it's an unbelievable achievement, and it's fantastic. We do have a couple more questions for you. They're pretty quick ones though. So
What do you got there, mate?
what was your first car?
I drove Dad's old green Volvo that everyone got as a hand-me-down,
Yeah.
and then I bought a Honda Civic when I had enough money to buy a car, an old black Honda Civic hatch. That was my first car.
Do you have a name for it?
No.
No. All right. What's your favourite food?
Lasagna.
Lasagna. Whose? Mum's?
Yeah. Nonna's, but she's no longer with us. But yeah,
Yeah.
same recipe.
Yeah, I was
It's
going to say
never the same
that.
as Nonna's, but is it?
Yeah. If you could invite 3 people to dinner, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. David Beckham.
Yeah.
So he was an idol growing up.
Yeah.
Who I met, which was pretty good.
That's pretty
Where'd you meet him?
So LA Galaxy came to Australia when he was playing
Oh,
for them.
yeah.
Came to Wellington. We played against them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I met him after. I didn't chat to him, but I said hello.
Did you get his
Signed our
autograph?
shirt. Yeah, he signed a shirt. I got Bully a signed shirt. Yeah, so met him. Who else? Probably Tiger Woods. I reckon a few stories he's got. I reckon he's got some good ones.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know. I used to say Halle Berry, but I don't know why I used to say that.
Because
When I was young, she was hot. But I'll say her again. But she's still pretty hot.
Halle Berry.
that's
Okay, that'll
gold.
be interesting.
But this,
interesting Guinness conversation.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
pretty good. Who would you invite, Benny?
I've got no idea. I'm hoping you will never ask me.
I don't know, look around your room and
This is
pick
what-
a few off the wall, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. I'm thinking it's a pretty good part of the conversation when you ask these questions. I can sit here and laugh at people that can't
Yeah.
think about it. You're supposed to
Yeah.
ask me.
So there we are. So that sort of concludes episode with Vince Lear. So Vinny, thank you very much for coming along. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. And it's I think you got an unbelievable story, and it's
Great career.
fantastic for young kids to hear it, and hopefully they can get something out of it as well. So
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Appreciate
joining us.
having me on. It was actually nice to tell it. You don't,
Yeah,
you remember some things when you're talking about it and things that you've forgotten. Or
yeah, that's
It was
awesome.
good to be here.
beautiful, man.
I like
Thanks
it.
very much, and we'll catch you guys later on.
Gotta show him I can still rap though. Now I'm in the game, I was on the bench. First I was renting, now I'm collecting rent. Run it up. First it with the Beamer, now I want the Benz. Spending all the bag like here I go again.